We're going to chase a $352 billion gray economy.
And find its potential undoing in a legal text that is, what, thousands of years old?
It's incredible. Okay, so let's set the stage, because if you've been online at all in the past, say, 5 years, you have seen this.
Oh, absolutely.
You're scrolling, you see a dazzling ad, maybe it's for a luxury facial roller or some kind of revolutionary cleaning gadget.
And the presentation is flawless, pristine visuals, a smiling, relatable face telling you this is a unique brand experience.
But it's not.
It's not. What you're actually looking at is the tip of an iceberg we call misleading drop shipping.
Okay, so let's define that, because this isn't just someone overcharging for a product.
No, not at all. It's a deliberately manipulated sales model. The entire function of it is fakery, creating a false digital identity for a totally generic product, and then profiting solely from that illusion.
So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack the mechanics of this massive gray economy.
See how it connects directly to organized financial crime.
And then, and this is the really wild part, we're going to explore a radical, almost a retro solution.
We are going to try and bridge the ancient Jewish halakhic principle, the 1/6 rule, or Shatu.
With the absolute chaos of modern digital markets.
Let's do it.
So let's start with the illusionists themselves. The scam merchants, they are, you have to admit, phenomenal at presentation.
They really are. They operate like all drop shippers, so, zero inventory. But they pair that with some incredibly sophisticated automation.
Aggressive algorithms, I'm guessing?
Absolutely. Seductively high-quality imagery, and they build this whole compelling but totally false pretense of being a unique, exclusive brand.
And it goes beyond just the pictures, right? They manufacture social proof.
They have to. They know that's what you trust. So they flood their sites with what we know are entirely made-up claims.
Like the little pop-ups that say, someone in Ohio just bought this.
Exactly, or thousands of satisfied customers, or that classic only a few left in stock to create scarcity.
The consumer is basically buying a story.
A complete story. You are completely unaware that the expensive special model you just paid for is, in reality, the exact same cheap, unbranded towel or toy you could find on an Asian wholesale site.
For a tenth of the price.
Or less. You're paying for a lie.
And the whole economic model is just designed to maximize that lie.
The profits are astronomical. And it's because the operational costs are, they're practically zero.
No inventory, no warehousing.
And critically, almost no customer service. If something goes wrong, they do not want to hear from you.
What about the influencers? The faces promoting this stuff?
Well, the sources say the commissions paid to these, often very young, influencers are, quote, ridiculously low.
So they're just buying reach on the cheap.
Exactly. Masking a huge corporate scam behind the facade of a friendly personal recommendation.
The scale of this, though, that's what gets me. This isn't just, a few bad actors selling overpriced lipstick.
No. This is a global, organized financial crime phenomenon. That is how professional assessments categorize it.
And the number you flagged is just staggering.
If you look at the U.S. market alone, this entire ecosystem, which is fueled by these deceptive sales models, is estimated to channel roughly $352 billion a year.
$352 billion.
Directly into the fraud and crime industry. When you see that figure, you realize this isn't just a consumer protection issue. It is an economic black hole that's disguised as a shopping trip.
That is a mind-bending number. But the story gets even darker when you trace where the money goes after you click buy.
It does. We move from e-commerce fraud into very serious financial security territory.
Where this has a name.
It does. It's officially recognized as transaction laundering.
Okay, bring that down. How does buying a gadget launder money?
What's so clever and insidious here is how they use the legitimacy of your purchase to clean dirty funds.
So criminal groups set up these stores.
They set up these fictitious online stores, the dropshippers, not just to sell you a cheap product, but specifically to process and clean illicit money through encrypted payment systems.
So let's say I spend, $50 on some new kitchen gadget from one of these sites.
Okay, that $50, the second it leaves your account, it enters a cycle of what we call gray money.
Meaning?
Meaning it's passed through multiple layers of shell companies. These are often registered using virtual P.O. boxes in tax havens to deliberately blur the trail.
And from there?
The funds get channeled, sometimes across borders, directly to criminal entities. So you, the consumer, just unwittingly helped a global crime ring clean its money.
All because I bought a cheap plastic thing that was overpriced by 700%.
Precisely.
And this is where the system just completely breaks down for law enforcement, for the credit card companies. Why can't they stop it?
Well, the obstacles are just overwhelming. The first one is legislative. The burden of proof is almost entirely on you, the consumer.
I have to prove it's a bad product or that the price was wrong.
Exactly. And for a $30 or $50 purchase, the effort, the paperwork, the time it takes to do that, it's just not worth it for most people.
That's the lack of public interest argument, right? No one's going to
Look.
spend 5 hours fighting over a $20 sponge.
Even if that $20 is feeding the $352 billion machine,
Right.
and while the individual complaints just sort of dry up because of that friction, the merchants are masters of evasion.
They just vanish.
Constantly. They change their internet identities, they cycle through different hosting sites, register hundreds of shell companies with virtual addresses. By the time anyone even starts to investigate, the storefront is gone.
It's a game of whack-a-mole.
But the moles are financed by billions of dollars.
So are regulators trying to do anything? I mean, are they just letting this happen?
No, there are attempts to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
You see platforms like Shopify, for example, being forced to issue anti-money laundering guidance to track their most suspicious users.
And what about governments?
Some jurisdictions are trying. Canadian authorities, for instance, have tried to define fraud by saying if you market something with an artificially inflated regular price that never actually existed,
Which is their whole model.
then that itself is a form of fraud.
But these feel like small steps against a giant problem.
They're reactive. Look at the UK's 2025 Digital Markets Act. It's making big moves against things like fake reviews and drip pricing.
Drip pricing, that's where hidden costs pop up at the last second.
Right at checkout. And the penalties are serious. They can be up to 10% of a company's turnover.
Which is huge. But we're still targeting specific behaviors, right? We're chasing the symptoms, not the disease.
That's the key realization. The Western approach offers these complicated, detailed, bureaucratic rules that react to the fraud after it's already happened.
And if the fraud changes shape tomorrow,
The law has to start chasing it all over again. And that complexity is exactly what these merchants exploit.
so if the modern, complex legal framework is frankly failing, this is where we pivot.
This is the pivot.
What if we embraced a radical retro model, a standard so simple and quantitative it deters the whole scam from the very beginning?
And this brings us to the heart of it all.
The ancient Jewish legal concept of shatut, or onana. It comes from the field of Hebrew law, halakha.
It's a truly surprising legal bridge to cross. Shatut is basically an ancient criminal law concept that's focused entirely on fair trade.
And its genius is its simplicity.
That's it. It provides a crystal clear quantitative measure for defining price fraud. It moves the whole legal argument away from proving a vague, misleading intent.
And focuses it on a simple math problem.
Did you overcharge, and by how much? It's
Yeah.
that simple.
So tell us the mechanism. What's the threshold?
Okay, so the law, which comes from ancient sources, basically says that some price variation is normal. It's a market. But if the price deviation exceeds 1/6 of the legitimate market price,
6.
1/6, that's when it crosses the line from negotiation into criminal deception.
Let's use the example from the sources to make this concrete. An item's real market price is, say, $60.
Okay, so a difference of up to 1/6, which is $10, is acceptable. Selling it for $70 is fine.
But if you sell that $60 item for $100, that's a $40 markup.
That is considered an unreasonable price deviation. And under this principle, that constitutes fraud.
It's a hard line.
It's a hard line. A 1/6 margin is tolerated as normal market fluctuation. Anything over that is shatut. The beauty is just how precise it is. It's not, is this misleading? It's, is the math wrong?
And what's the consequence? What happens if a seller is caught?
Well, the power of this ancient law is what happens next. If the seller charges a price that includes that increase of shatut, that amount over the 1/6,
Then the whole transaction is at risk.
the whole transaction can be invalidated, and the buyer is entitled to a refund, or at least compensation for that excessive difference.
Okay, so let's pull this into the 21st century. The proposal is for a digital shatut law.
Yes.
The advantage is just immediate clarity. Instead of relying on these abstract definitions of misleading conduct, this ancient principle gives you a specific, measurable number.
It gives you a simple question to ask. Is the price difference between this unique brand item and the identical item on a wholesale site greater than 1/6.
If yes, it's fraud. End of story.
And that's the enforcement mechanism we need. Drop shippers thrive on complexity. Shadowed offers simplicity. If the difference is more than 1/6, the seller is operating fraudulently.
But you need penalties.
Oh, absolutely. The proposed system has to couple this clarity with real power. The fines, as the source material says, they have to be the modern flogging. They have to be heavy and immediate.
Proportional enough to just wipe out any profit from the scam.
You have to make the fraud uneconomical. That's the only way to stop it.
It seems like a dual benefit then.
It is. It's profound. First, it acts as a massive deterrent. It introduces a simple, quantifiable risk that these merchants can't just hide from.
And second,
It gives the consumer a clear, actionable right. You can demand a refund for the specific amount of the exaggerated price. You don't need a global investigation.
you just need to establish the price floor.
That's all it takes.
So really, this is about leveraging thousands of years of trade wisdom to create a modern standard for online fairness.
It's a standard that demands unambiguous transparency, and it states a very simple, enduring economic truth.
A price gap of more than 1/6 of the market price equals fraud.
It's that clear.
We have spanned millennia in this deep dive. I mean, we started with the high-tech, deceptive world of modern drop shipping.
And the financial crime fueling a $352 billion gray market.
And we ended with a halakhic law from the Talmud that offers a simple, quantifiable solution to price gouging.
That gray circle we talked about, where complexity just defeats any kind of enforcement, it only works because of consumer naivety.
You believe the story.
You believe the story. You allow a cheap product to be sold as a luxury good, and the payment system works like cash. There's no clear way back.
The digital chateau.
It forces accountability. It recognizes that in the wild west of the internet marketplace, just like in an ancient market square, there is a fundamental market price that has to be respected.
You're paying for the product, not the fiction.
Exactly. You're paying for what you actually receive, not for the seller's fictional story about it.
And so we'll leave you with a final thought to mull over. If 1/6 is the measure of legitimate price deviation, think about your last few on-long purchases. If the true wholesale price of that item was $10 and you paid $80, how much of your own spending is falling into the realm of fraudulent pricing? And what does that say about the true cost of convenience in our digital age?
It's a great question.
When you shop online, remember the 1/6 rule, and maybe start looking for the price floor, not just the advertised discount. That's all for this deep dive.